Hello, everybody. So I wanted to say thank you to all my new subscribers. And today's video is going to be on damage control. If you'd like to access any of these files, please feel free to join my Facebook group. You can access them there. In my last video, we talked about overcoming the demons in many heads. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail as this is a very general approach, but a very personal experience. And I refuse to take that away from you. I will touch on why we have self-awareness for our own self-control. No one can get one up on us. No one can get one up on you. You're emotionally regulated and you're unbiased in your approach to what is right and wrong. Give you guys a little bit of context of where this all comes from. So the summer after grade 8 was the summer I found out my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. My father ended up cheating on my mom and they had broken up. He threatened to take her off of his benefits if she didn't come back. And obviously, in this kind of situation, I was infuriated by my dad's actions towards my mom. Upon finding this out near the end of the summer, I was just tired of being the bigger person. So my mom had to make a decision. She was getting too weak to get in between me and my father fighting. She came up to me privately and she asked me if I would be willing to move to my aunt's and take my grade 9 year in St. Albert. Of course, I understood. I wasn't attached to my school. I didn't really want to be there anyway. So I went, and it was a new structured lifestyle for me. Things were good, things were calm, but subconsciously in my mind, I was waiting for my out. And I'm going to stress the importance of knowing a child's past experience, especially for children who are in group homes, prior to them coming. Like, build that bond with them, know what they've been through. What kind of self-limiting beliefs do they have? What is going to be the things that work against you? I can't stress the importance of that enough. Because you understanding the state of the child's mind and what they've been through will allow you to adjust your communication accordingly. On a side note, children in group homes and children who have went through sexual abuse, I suggest work around their self-worth ASAP, as it prevents issues from evolving as they're going to go through life. Like, it prevents issues from evolving more than necessary, like more than they already are. It gives them the skills to know, at least in the back of their mind, they're aware. Yes, it sucks to be stripped of your childhood, but want to know what sucks even more? Being stripped of your adulthood too. Communication, effective interactions. Let's focus right here. So I highly suggest knowing the child's attachment style and your own so that you know how they process information and how you process information. When using the communication triangle, there is a series of events that will play out. Control is probably your worst enemy. I would stick to the unbiased approach and with planting seeds with intention. Okay? So let's bring it back to the first step here. This is where you build your bond, where you get to know who they are. So effective interactions. You're going to have responsibilities, concerns, and then your solution and action plan. Usually right here is where we don't want to share with our child because we have to be vulnerable. We may have to humble ourselves. So this is what's going to tell you your capabilities though. What are you capable of doing? What resources do you have? How are we going to tackle whatever concern you have? Don't tell your kid like, oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. No. Say, this is what I'm capable of doing. If they ask why, ask them, what do you believe the situation is? What do you already intuitively know? They're going to tell you what they're capable and what their capacity is for intaking information. When they understand the context of why an answer is what it is, then now they have life skills, they have knowledge. Always respond with their capacity and their needs in mind, because that's exactly what's going to bring you guys into bonding and creating a solution or an action plan. Let's say they ask, well, why is this a certain way? This gift for Olivia's birthday. We're going to explain the situation. And then we're going to say, look, I know this is what you wanted to do, but what's some other alternatives that we can think of that may be just as good? And you can do this example in your everyday routine when you were telling them no and they need to do something else. Be like, look, I don't right now, this isn't the best thing for right now. I would appreciate if you could do something else. Can you think of some other alternatives? It's, you know what, like, give them, and I mean, like, of course you're gonna have your bad days, but I mean, if you start, the younger they are, the better off you are in getting this dynamic in play. So vulnerability and humility, the most underestimated power move a person in personal relationships. The unbiased approach. When someone's in the rebellious stage and they don't want to listen to anybody, children in group homes, weighing out the pros and the cons is allowing them the freedom and their own they get to govern themselves and be the adult that they so desperately already feel like they are. During reflection, think about a pivotal moment, aha moment you had growing up that has brought you clarity, that brought you clarity. Remember, this is your goal. Let the child be the director of how to get there. When things get heated, this is when you're going to step in and clarify. But first, once you have established the accountability ground rules in the communication triangle, once this is established here, and you have bonded over responsibilities, concerns, and your solutions, you've built that trust, continue the trust with the unbiased approach and planting seeds with intention. So you're going to get the accountability dynamic down through planting seeds with intention. Okay? You're going to lead. The outcome will go in the child's favor as you're showing them that there is another way to communicate. Okay? Then you're going to back off. You're going to let them do it on their own to see how much they have absorbed of this information. Okay? When you have to halt, this is why we establish clear ground rules, clarity around triggers, boundaries, and milestones, because it makes halting very easy. All right. When you are diffusing and you are leading through clarifying and showing them another alternative, communicate in such a way that you would like them to make sure your intentions are in the right place. For me personally, I've always just talked to God because that's the only person that I trust to God. That's, well, not person, I guess that's the only energy that I have that I trust at the moment to guide me in any direction. And it always has been that way. I mean, I'm not in denial of trust, but as far as associations, it's me and God. Moving forward. So communication roles and responsibilities, that's a triangle. Okay. So establishing mutual respect. We are all leading by example, governing yourself accordingly to a change that you would like to see in the world. No, not politics. I mean everyday interactions. You don't have to be rude to express that you are separate from another individual. Establishing mutual respect. So, rebellious stage. Everyone has a rebellion. Everyone has their motive. The reason they are so angry. For me, my rebellion was in search of love and connection, loyalty. I know my anger was formed around my self limiting belief that I was inadequate and unworthy of having a home and healthy relationships. This just masked, like when I left, that anger that I had inside me completely masked what I set out in search for. I'm able to see this now, but back then, no, not a chance in hell. So, a time and a place. This is going to depend on the personalities you have inside your home. Establishing clear boundaries around what is acceptable and milestones as a direction of the path forward allows the heir to have the freedom of what is acceptable. Nobody likes walking on eggshells, so a secure base equals an environment free from threat. This is how I grew up, was an environment not free of threat, and it just infuriated me. Everything and anything was a problem. It was swearing. Like it was just there's no happy middle point ever. Not for my mom, not for anybody. So keep that in mind. Emotional perpetual loop. This is going to be in a separate video, but I wanted to touch on this here because this was one of the biggest things that will stand in the way of creating any permanent change in a home with a person who is in an emotional perpetual loop. This is my own theory. Maybe there's another word or another concept for it, but the perpetual loop, it starts by living in delusional realities, not seeing your actions. Lacking awareness will lead into coping mechanisms so that they can blame anybody else other than themselves, or I don't remember. Emotionally, when we mask and express what we feel, the emotion will get stuck in the body, desperately wanting to be seen and felt and experienced. It needs acknowledgement to come out. These emotions will remain in the body until released. And if prolonged, the emotion will manifest as illness. Some of the biggest obstacles that I found a way around was, so when I would judge somebody, bad thoughts about others. Think of a time I wasn't so hot, or think of a time you weren't so hot. I repent and ask for forgiveness and I let it go. Because as I said, God is the only person or only energy that I trusted throughout my life up until this point right now. And this is where it's led me. Control people, places, and things. Express gratitude. Ask yourself, am I making my own life harder? Like, is this going to matter in 10 years from now? 5 years, 2 years, a month from now? No? Okay, let it go. It's not a big deal. Guilt. Weigh out your pros and your cons. Pick the best option for all involved. I do this in my own personal life, and I do this when making a decision sometimes when I'm having a hard time. Fear. Fear and guilt have a lot in common. Feel the shame. There's no getting, you can run from it as long as you want, but there is no getting away from it. You are going to feel it one day. Somehow. And the universal truth is acceptance. Because we are faced with this multiple and various ways a day. The whole thing of this, so all these emotional obstacles, they require acceptance. How to release control. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to fix that right now. How to release control. So, a few warning signs that your child may be running away. I'll give you some context. So, when I would get into a huge fight with my dad, my mom would ask me to come back and stay for the weekend or something. Or she would ask me to come move back in. So I would move back in, and my dad would get mad and he would kick me out and tell me to be gone by morning. Or yeah, usually he's like, I want you out, I'm kicking you out, but he would go to bed. Well, because my dad didn't kick me out at that very moment, I mean, and nothing was set in stone, and it's not like he's going to remember in the morning anyway. I can see this now. But for my mom, for me, I was like, okay, fuck this. Like, I'm done. Like, why do I keep coming back here to give this another shot? Like, it's pointless at this, like, right now. So I would I'd go quiet, and I would say everything was okay in circumstances that they shouldn't be. I shouldn't be. I would disassociate. When I disassociated, this was a form of accepting the disappointment that I felt. Plus, this fueled my rebellion, fueled my search for love. It was more reason for me to get out there and go and find it. I didn't understand that then, but every time that I would leave, I would see like that would amp me up, and I would just take off, and I'd be gone for. My mom wouldn't hear from me for what, months on end. I would just disappear because I didn't want to involve my parents in what I was involved in. I didn't want to bring danger to their home. I didn't want to have what I did affect them in any which way. So I just stayed away. So I'm going to give you saying good luck with reverse psychology. And so help me God, if anyone attempts to use this technique with ill intentions, shall they be set straight from the Most High itself. Okay? On God. Amen. So in the occurrence your child does lose it, if they're packing and they're about to walk out the door, do not feed into it to the point where things get physical or you try to stop them. Yes, get upset, frustrated, show concern, as it will be natural, and that's what they want your attention in the first place. But you're going to pull back. You're not going to say, okay, do whatever you want. You're not going to say anything like that. You're just going to silently pull back. Yes, this is a bit manipulative. Like I said, so help me God. Before they're about to leave, ask if you can say goodbye and talk quick. You're not going to try and stop them. During this talk, you're going to prepare them with the best advice that you can. Anything that you know about the streets. Refrain from using scripts and explaining dynamics in movies, please. Give them real insight about betrayal, deceit, hardships. Say this is everything I could possibly give you in my arsenal, as your name's been called to dance with the devil. And I'm telling you this now because there may come a time where even when I speak, you won't be able to hear me in this journey. This journey is one you walk alone. Because if I step in, I'm only going to make it worse. But know that I love you, and I'm here for you, and I believe in you. Good luck. I'll be here when you're done and you outwit the devil. Yes, this is reverse psychology. Do not laugh because it's not funny. It is your child's reality. And they should be made aware of it by their caregiver, their parent, directly. Directly with a bit of compassion on top of that. So I'm going to give you a bit of context, okay? Imagine this. You're stuck in a drive-through. Let's say like you're 12. Let's take age out of it for a minute. You're stuck in a drive-through and you need to be somewhere at a certain time, but you're literally stuck in the drive-through, even though you arrived a half an hour prior and you're like, okay, I got a half an hour. I can stop and get a coffee quick. So you're stuck in the drive-through and you're in there for about 45 minutes. You text beforehand, you let whoever involved know the situation, and then when you get there, you are given the. Anyway, when I got there and I got shunned for it, I snapped. Want to know what I did? This is what I did. I was tired of being controlled, as if I didn't know how to behave respectfully and I was a prisoner. I messaged prior. There was nothing I could do about it. I was literally down the road, but still far enough away, it would have taken me longer to get out and walk. And at this point, if I wasn't going to be approached and heard with reason, then I had no business being there. I fought for 12 years to get the slightest bit of mutual respect from my father, and I was denied. and I'd be damned to consider fighting for it from my aunt. This is how I was feeling, but how I approached it and projected this was this. And just ignore the little Bitcoin thing there. This was the closest thing to what I drew, and I felt like it wouldn't be the same without it. Oh, you guys are troopers. So if you're finding yourself struggling to cope with outrageous reactions, energy does travel down the bloodline, and here is a perception to consider. But you're going to have to wait till the next video for that one.